Hello, Zinhle. Okay, how are
Um,
you? How are
I'm
you?
good. How are you?
I'm
I'm
good, thank
great. How are
you.
you?
I'm good, thank you. So thank you so much for just joining me today to speak about town planning in general. And I'm so excited to hear what you have to tell us about your journey as a town planner. If you can just tell us about yourself, where you studied.
Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Mnikathi. I'm years old and I'm a registered professional planner by profession. I studied at the University of KwaZulu-Natal where I did my master's in town and regional planning. I'm currently working in the private sector and I've been there for almost 3, 4 years. 4 years now, yes. And let me tell you, it has been quite a journey.
I can imagine.
So I've never had any public sector experience in terms of my profession. So I only know it from private sector. However, we do interact with a lot of municipal planners as well. So there is like a sharing of information that takes place as well. So we're not really like not in tuned, but a lot of the work that I do is very hands on, from inception to close out phase of a project. So it's quite intense.
That, that, that is incredible. Zinhle, if you can just tell us where your journey started with town planning.
Oh, okay. So my journey started off. I have a bachelor's degree in housing from United University of KwaZulu-Natal.
Okay, okay.
um, so basically, that degree kind of like sparked the interest in town planning, because to be honest, I didn't really or wasn't aware of town planning as a profession. All I knew was that I wanted to be in the built environment.
Okay.
So having studied my bachelor's degree, some of the modules that I realized are useful in town planning was layouts and subdivision, was GIS, and as well as project management as well, because as a planner we are involved in a lot of projects from inception all the way to closeout, so you need to be able to understand a project cycle. So also an um, environmental management was also one of the key aspects from my degree as well. So I then moved on to doing my master's at UKZN, which was a 2-year course. So the first year was mainly like modules where you have environmental planning, planning theory, planning law,
Mhm.
layouts and subdivision, local area analysis. It was quite interesting, and that's where I actually sparked the interest in really wanting to become a planner as a profession.
Mhm.
So after the 2-year course, which also entails a um, so I had to search as well, um, which was looking into urban regeneration from
Okay.
a planning perspective. So it was quite an interesting journey, having to do research as well, which was very exciting. So yeah, and then while I was studying, actually, I took upon myself to actually start working in a planning firm. So I was kind of like juggling between completing my masters
Mhm.
and also getting introduced into what planning is practically. So which was quite a challenge, but I was very excited, putting myself out there, wanting to know what planning really is, and does it differ from what we study, and what we do practically. So it was very exciting.
Oh wow, that is amazing. Tell me, Zinhle, how did you finance your studies?
Yeah. Well, most of my studies they were financed by my lovely parents. God bless them. But I was very fortunate enough to also receive a scholarship
Wow.
towards my master's. So it wasn't a full scholarship. It was like, some money, but it really helped.
Okay.
And then I think we also applied for a CETA bursary in terms of our research. So that also assisted me in terms of my master's. But throughout my studying, journey, my parents have been my sole support.
Okay, that is great. And then tell me, while you were still studying, did you have some sort of mentorship? Did you have someone that you looked up to that would guide you throughout your journey in town planning?
That's interesting. Well, when I was studying, I didn't really have a mentor. I think they used to us at the time. So I kind of like put myself out there. I went to go find a mentor who
Okay.
became my boss at the time. So I was just like all these firms, what, will have the time, energy, let me just, put myself out there. And I volunteered, actually practically doing learning. I was a volunteer for quite some time, which I was very grateful because that's when I actually saw that what we do is like, wow. But there are some, similarities. It's just that when you practically do it, it's like another level. So my mentor is my boss and has my boss for quite some time. So I'm very grateful for him and what he has taught me throughout my planning career. So yeah, it has been quite a journey.
Wow, that is great. And tell me, in town planning, we work a lot with people. So if you can just tell me, how did you get yourself to have so much great social skills? Did you, because I remember with me, I used to volunteer at some organization while I was still at varsity, just to get myself out there so that I'm able to speak to different types of people. How did you actually get to, get that skill in order for you to be able to practice and to become a successful town planner that you are today?
Oh, thanks. So what I did when I was still in varsity, I participated in a non-profit organization. So it was kind of like an extramural thing that I was introduced.
Okay.
And that form of the itself in actors, so that form allows you to actually be out there, interact with the community, interact with different people and stakeholders. So where my confidence started to build in terms of like interaction with people that are impacted by what we do. And besides being a big mouth and just naturally having confidence, but that platform really assisted me in many ways possible. I'm so grateful for being part of that organization. And that it also exposes you to be able to communicate not just in like English, also communicates in vernac. So you need to be able to have those kind of skills when interacting with community, like as a planner as well, because you find yourself in like tribal areas, where you can't use like English. You have to try and make people understand what are you going to be bringing into the area in terms of development, and make sure that there's one understanding. And the medium of language is so important to understand as a planner. So that was just my exposure in terms of community engagement. And also I did a module, community development as well, which also exposed me to the types of ways in which you can engage with the community. But it was so refreshing to actually be a part of, it practically, and being there to understand people's issues and how you as a planner can reflect those and what we do.
Yeah. Wow. Wow, you actually mentioned such a good point, the fact that you need to be able to communicate with different people from different tribal um, places. So, Zinhle, if you can just tell me, for a graduate or just a student town planner,
Yeah.
which tools would you advise that they start familiarizing themselves with?
Okay, so the main tools that I think as a graduate or, someone that's still studying, they should be well aware of geographical information systems, because we use that quite often to communicate what we're trying to maybe motivate for rezoning, or, just to understand from a spatial perspective. So we encourage graduates to really familiarize themselves with GIS and AutoCAD as well, because we do get involved in drawing of layouts as well, township establishment. So I think those are the main tools, technical tools to say. But if you want to be a planner as a graduate, you cannot be shy, because you need to be able to engage with the community. So if you're someone that's shy, I think you are going to like planning, because you find yourself talking all the time. So yeah, as long as you have talkative skills, being able to speak as well, very, very important. So yeah, I think that those are the main ones. Yes.
Okay, that is great. Zinhle, just tell me, when you started off doing town planning, what have you mostly focused on in terms of the side of town planning where you're at?
Oh, okay. So when I started working in the planning field, what I was exposed to is a lot of your limit applications. So you have your your consents, township establishments, etc., etc., and I'm also involved in project management as well, where we work with different professions, like your traffic engineers, your civil engineers. Also, those are like your projects, to say the least, where we have like various professionals working on a particular project. But where I work, we do a lot of environmental management as well, which is also important as a planner to be familiar with, understanding the environmental side of things as well. And we also do precinct planning as well, from your urban scale to your rural scale as well. We do a lot of those, and land use audits as well. So that has been an aspect which has started to be very prominent in municipalities, where they now are wanting land use audits. That's basically to understand the typology of land ownership within the municipalities. So that has been very exciting to actually get into and understand. So we do a lot of those as well. I don't know what just happened. Sorry.
No,
but so it's like macro projects as well as micro projects as well. So it's great exposure, and I'm getting to understand planning from various angles as well. And being able to interact with engineers, I never thought that was even possible. But there's also a lot of learning as well, learning of other professions and how what they do interlinks with us as planners. Yeah, because I know that we work a lot with traffic engineers for your traffic impact assessments. So getting to know and understand why we need a traffic impact assessment is also important as a planner to familiarize yourself with.
So just tell me, Zinhle, another question that I wanted to ask you, for a town planner who's currently looking for work, or just a student that's currently at varsity, what would you advise that they do, like when they're looking for work? Would you say that they start looking in the private sector, or in the public sector, or in the research, or in just other sectors of town planning? What would you advise as the right place to start for a graduate or just a student who's looking for work to gain experience?
I wouldn't say what is the right and wrong place to start, but it basically, I would say that it starts with you and what you want to know about planning. Maybe if you can see your strengths lie in research and you want to get into research, I mean, you can do that. If you want to be a technical person, then you'd obviously want to get into the technical side of planning. But from my experience and what I'd like to echo to other graduates is that to put yourself out there. And putting yourself out there, what I mean by that is that, try and approach your private sectors, because let me tell you, planning experience is like the bulk of it. You understand it in the private sector, because we find ourselves getting projects from the municipalities actually that are looking for consultants to do your SDF or your IDPs and stuff. So that is like the crux of understanding what planning really is and what you do. So I would really encourage for young graduates to start looking into starting off in the private sector, just to understand what planning really is. It's okay if you start in the public sector as well. Like I said, I don't really have experience on that side, so I don't want to be biased, but as from coming from me and my experience, I learned a lot in the private sector. So as long as you just put yourself out there, if you will get the opportunity to work in private sector, graduate needs to be aware that there is not a huge chunk of pay that you'll be expecting. You gotta be focused on the goal in terms of what you want when you go into the private sector and for how long. So obviously when you want to do your practical training, you train for 24 months. So if you have that in mind, the little pay that you get, it will be worth it when you've registered as a professional. It's just really understanding the true essence of what planning really is. So my experience, I because I started off in private, I have like that private sector mentality. So I'm always like working extra hours, doing more, giving more. Woo, it's a lot, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. So yeah, it's also a graduate needs to be aware of the fact that it's okay if you start at municipal level, because people and their finances, then we aren't the same. So if you just get the opportunity to start anyway, it's quite a blessing.
Okay, that is great. So what makes you excited about town planning? Because I know when I come back from work and I'm just driving and I'm seeing a project that we're busy with, I get so excited. I just see the reward of my work and I'm just like, wow, I've actually done great because I'm seeing the results.
I think that's the most rewarding part as a planner, when you actually see what you have been working on, day in, day out, see it coming into life. It's rewarding, So me, for planning is I don't know, I enjoy it, I enjoy it on a daily basis. Also, the colleagues that I work with make me enjoy it even more, because I'm also learning from them. And it's a learning environment at the end of the day, because we obviously need to learn every time. But I know we were working on the points development projects, the promenade and Durban, KZN Beach. So when we saw that come to life, we were like, whoa. Actually it looks amazing. So it's actually very rewarding when you see the work that you've been putting in, out there. People are acknowledging it, people are happy about the results. That brings more joy to you. It just puts a smile on my face when you be like, I worked on that. So yeah, it's very rewarding.
All right. So Zinhle, how would you define town planning from your experience, from when you started practicing as a planner to now? Like, how would you tell someone who doesn't know what town planning is about, in your own words? Yeah.
Okay, I will basically explain to someone that wants to know what we do. We are land doctors, you know.
Yes.
if you want if you want a particular development, you have to consult a planner. You know, it's like if you're sick, you go to the doctor, right? And he, you know, checks you out, diagnose you. So if you want to do any piece of development on land, you go to a planner. So we are the land doctors. We will tell you what you have to do or what you know need to do. So in simple, basically, we are the land doctors, but
Wow.
we manage land. Yeah, we manage land and the developments on that particular piece, whether it's small, big, whatever size, you need a planner.
Wow,
um,
I like this. I like the
yeah,
way that you defined it. We are land doctors and we are land managers. I like the
yes,
definition. Yeah, no, thank you
yeah.
so much, Cynthia, for your time. And I
All
do
right.
believe that a lot of graduates and then high school learners as well, and just students who are still at varsity will learn a lot from this interview. Thank you so much for just taking your weekend
Thank
time
you.
to just to share your knowledge with those students and also just people who just want to learn about what town planning is about. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Lindile.
Bye.
Bye.